Welcome back. We're taking a look at the controversy with LAUTECH University of Technology. And by the way, the NUC had issued a statement saying they don't sort this thing out, they're going to have to wade into it. And how they wade in with a sledgehammer, some might say. But Oyo State, from some of the publications making the round, did say that infrastructure solely put in place by Oyo State, and which continues to be provided for by the state after the birth of Osun, cannot reasonably be classified as joint property. So from indications here, it does look as though they had made appeals to Osun State government to provide its own part of the funding. That is not happening, and they think that something really must be wrong here.
Well, like I told you, I am not privy to what has been happening between both of them. Okay. But all I know is that that university belongs to two of us. 51% for your state is an asset, 49% to Osun State.
Yes, but
after all, most of the other liabilities that we jointly, Osun State is paying our own part. So that is something that must be looked into. They have a way of resolving it. Peace and conflict mechanism, getting credible men of integrity and honor. These are not politicians, from both sides to sit down and say, look, we are from the same parentage. Yes. Let's resolve this amicably. After all, there are institutions jointly even between Kano and Jigawa today. They are not killing themselves. Zamfara, Sokoto,
yes, but can a partnership last forever?
That is a research question. Why is it in Nigeria that partnership cannot live forever? Joint venture cannot live forever. It's because of greed. It's a research that people should go into. It works in other places. Why Nigeria?
Okay, but
and it has been working for the last 19 years. Why just the last 2 months?
But you might also suggest, having started Osun State, that if it really is true that Osun State is not providing the infrastructure they need, they've gone ahead and set up University of Osun, which Oyo State interprets as, wait a minute, you're planning to disengage from here. That's why you're not paying your part of the counterpart funding.
Like I said, I'm not privy to know if they're paying counterpart funding.
Yeah, but hypothetically, if that were the case,
Osun State should pay its counterpart funding regularly. It's a joint ownership.
And the funding is divided in that 51 to 49.
Even in the filling of the appointments is 51-49. In the admission for catchment area, 51-49.
Okay, so your advice to them now is that you know, maybe Oyo State wants to buy Osun State out.
That is why before we stop, the only option is if it's a desire of Osun State to pull out, to divest.
Yes.
Okay. Oyo State, buy me out. Let's get a common agreed valuer who will value the entire university and say this is how much it costs. Okay. And then pay up front. Oyo State pay up front. Osun State is 49%. After Osun State must have paid its counterpart funding up to date.
Okay.
Pay him is 49%. For instance, if it is valued to be about 10 trillion naira, Osun State will go home with 4.9. If you give me 4.9 today,
you'll be able
to take to Osun State, within 3 years I will turn it into paradise.
Do you have any campus of LAUTECH in Osun State at all?
What they have after we left,
yes.
I think they have the teaching hospital in Osogbo.
Okay.
But they say
both of them have to be jointly valued. All right, look at it. So the one that falls, the money will be deducted when they are bought out. When Osun is bought out, if that's what they agree.
Okay,
they said that teaching hospital is being also used by medical students of Uni Osun as well. That's one of the complaints of Oyo State.
I think what they have done was that they converted our old, the one I left there, Osogbo General Hospital, was what they renovated or really enlarged to become a teaching hospital. I have not been there for a very long time. But if that is, then of course they should look at the assets there, the assets in Ogumosho, put it together, all right, and say this is how much it costs. on your state, I mean, Osun State, this is the value on your ground. This is what we have for Bomosho. Yeah. You remove it and then share the rest.
Okay. In that agreement, if the teaching hospital is located in Oshogbo, where should the chairman be a native of? Should he be from Oyo or from Osun?
The chairman of
the teaching hospital.
It's rotated. It will be rotated. Like you rotate the VC. You will rotate it.
Okay, because your state does complain now. They say the chairman of that teaching hospital, Dr. Muyiwa Oladimeji, and Chief Medical Director, Professor Fadiola, are indigenous of Osun State, which ordinarily should not be.
Well, that is part of teething problems.
Teething problem. Okay, then I wanted to ask if what is your desire? Is it your desire that it should remain jointly owned because of history? Or do you think if one person is fed up of the partnership, they should split?
The Osun State and Oyo State should decide. And they should ask their people.
Okay.
All right? If the entire Osun indigenes and the governor and the assembly say, look, let us pull out. We don't want this old, we don't want to keep history again. No problem. Let Oyo State buy them out. Let them resolve it quickly so that Oyo State can buy them out and they go in peace. With what I read about the NUC
yes,
taking their license in 2 months.
Is that a real threat?
That is another dimension. We've not read the instruments that gives license to people to create university. There must have been a clause because the NUC will be worried. You know how many, all the stakeholders involved is going to affect all the staff, is going to affect all the students all over Nigeria.
Especially as we don't have enough universities anyway.
Almost 5,000 students. And NUC cannot just sit down and start saying...
In other words...
So, sir, isn't it a shame that we cannot actually solve the problem without this going to the recourse of maybe splitting all of this assets? Shouldn't there be some sort of conflict resolution at this point?
That should have been my first option. Get people, I know people of honor and credibility, integrity, who will not double speak, who will say the truth the way they see it. They're in abundance in Oyo State, men and women. They're in abundance in Oyo State. Get these leaders to quickly come out and voice out that, look, we gave you our mandate to rule us. Now, this is time we want to speak. We don't want to go apart. We want to remain together and fashion out something for them, resolve them, and let them move ahead.
Isn't it really,
not
sir?
Involve politicians, because the issue at stake cut across one party.
Is it not, sir, really a problem between the two leaders, or your state?
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. The mind construction of a man is not written on his face. Yeah. He will know what is in his mind.
So if politicians were involved in this, it won't...
If politicians are involved, it will not go. It's either somebody who has been partying with Akala, His Excellency Akala, or His Excellency Oyinlola. They won't speak the truth. You need people who will be factual and say, look, this is non-partisan. Okay, because it's more than party. It is not a PDP issue, it is not an AC issue, it is not the issue of any of the 50 political parties. Because it's issue of your state, everybody there. It's issue of Osun State, including even you and me, who may have students. Because it's going to affect us negatively. Yes. It's going to affect a lot of Nigerians who have children in that school.
Well, the thing now is, even though we understand that there was a committee put in place to try and solve these problems, but something went wrong again. But now you say there's nothing that cannot be talked about.
What is the composition of that party?
I guess
it will have just been you bring 3 people, then they will look among the ranks of politicians, go there, rank up and go there. No, everybody will want to defend his own.
No one wants to lose out.
Who pays the piper?
Okay, if NUC were to intervene, not taking away the license now, how should they and what should they do?
The NUC cannot intervene because the NUC cannot tell them how they will live together. It's like husband and wife. But the problem of husband and wife better be resolved by the household not an outsider.
Yes, but if your state as the husband now is saying that I don't want this relationship again, or it's lopsided, shouldn't they divorce?
Well, let them divorce, or your state then comes, I should say then comes, okay, pay me out, buy me out, pay me upfront, my entitlement, and I'm going to use it effectively. But the worst, the danger, is the kite that the NUC has flown the last 2-3 days. If they don't resolve immediately, the NUC can use the instrument that established them, the instrument of the license, with the necessary clause. I don't know if it's there. Take the license, go to court, get the legal judgment, they proceed, they then go on to Supreme Court, both of them be agreed. If they win, then Osun State and Oyo State will then be like liquidators. I mean a company that has been liquidated.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
You know when the company is liquidated, then you haven't got any bargaining power again. You look like a captive and a captor. A captive cannot say anything, bargain with a captor.
Well, retired Major General Leo Shegun Ajiborisha is the President and Chairman and Council Institute of Strategic Management, and is also a former military administrator of Osun State. Thank you for coming on this morning, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right, don't forget to send your comments to us if you happen to be a student, member of staff, those on strike, and also comment. Sunrise Daily at channelstv.com. We'll be back in just a moment. We've got another perspective on this matter, so don't go away just yet.